Hello, everyone. I'm Lejeune, president of the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to our State of the Community Address. We are so pleased to be able to present this to our community, and we thank our sponsor, Jones Onslow Electric Membership Corporation, for making this event possible. Now, our moderator for today is Bob Dupuis. Now, his official title is retired, but he's still a big supporter of the Chamber and its mission. So at this time, I would like to ask our panel and Bob to please come forward.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the 29th State of the Community event. If you were expecting Mike Scalise, you're welcome. Let me introduce you to our, they call it panel of experts, I call it brain trust. So, on your left, starting on that end, Brigadier General Ralph Rizzo, Commanding General Marine Corps Installations East, Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. Thank you, General. Next to him, Colonel Slimer Burnett, Commanding Officer, Marine Corps Air Station New River. His mother did not name him Slimer. His friends did. Normally, we would have Dr. Penny Burlingham Deal, Executive Officer for the Onslow Memorial Hospital, but she was not able to join us this year because of a scheduling conflict. But we are so lucky that we have Captain Anja Dabelić. She is the Naval Medical Center and Commander of Navy Medicine Readiness and Training Command Camp Lejeune. And she's agreed to join us. Thank you very much, ma'am. We have David Heatherly, president of Coastal Carolina Community College over at 444 Western Boulevard. Dr. Chris Barnes, superintendent of Onslow County Schools. Onslow County Commissioner Chairman Tim Foster. And a man that needs no introduction, but I will anyway, the mayor for the city of Jacksonville, the Honorable Sammy Phillips. As your moderator, it is my, thanks, excellent. It is my responsibility and honor and burden to keep our panel discussion focused and on time. Each one of these folks could speak for a couple hours on their respective organizations. I'm going to ask and plead, I'm begging, that you keep your remarks to approximately 3 minutes on each question, and there are 3 questions. When you hear the bell ring, that means that you have 15 seconds to finish your thought. If you do not, then you will hear a dozen angels get their wings. So, with that, let's begin by reflecting on the past year. I'd like to ask each of you to share 2 or 3 key accomplishments from your organization that you believe have made a meaningful impact on your community. General Rizzo, I'm starting at that far end, and we're going to come this way. You're up, sir.
Thanks very much. I do appreciate it. And for everyone here today, thanks for always having us. I thought when the bell rung, that meant Slimer and I were going to go out back and commence to brawling, but I guess that bell here means something different. So we'll get us through this, folks. Again, thank you all for hosting and having us out. We enjoy this event every year to be able to interact with our other partners up here on the panel, just to see how we all tie in and integrate. I'm sure you'll see and hear as we go through the morning how we overlap in many areas. But I'm going to start off, folks. When we talk about our community, the Commandant talks about the nation, and that is our community. So let me tell you a little bit about your Marine Corps and what's going on today's day and age. Right now, we are about to celebrate our 250th birthday, as everybody knows. So that high holy day is soon approaching in November 10th, and we'll make sure we celebrate that correctly. But right now, your Marine Corps sits at 174,000 Marines, with presently approximately 20% of that force forward deployed away from home zip codes right now. The Commandant believes the end strength for force design is somewhere in the sweet spot of 177 and 178,000, and we will get there. We do not miss recruiting. We have not missed, and we will not miss. We're still getting those great young Americans who raise their right hand and want to come join us, folks. The Commandant looks at force design and has a couple of key areas. We will be forward deployed. we will be your stand-in force. Meaning when all else are pulsing out to regroup and come back in, we will remain in the first island chain, and we will fight that near peer until we regroup and pulse back in with more combat power. So we will be your stand-in force. We're modern and we're capable, folks. Long-range precision fires, unmanned systems, and advanced sensors mean more reach and more punch for your Marine Corps. But what we need here at Camp Lejeune, to bring it locally, is the ability to train to those things. Those who know me have heard me say often, the first time a Marine engages a weapons system should not be when they're under fire. We should be doing it right back here. We will work with our partners in the FAA and local communities to ensure we have the airspace we need, to ensure our ranges have depth and breadth to handle these smaller, longer range, more lethal weapon systems that we want our Marines training on. And we know we have your support. We've never been let down. We will remain with our Navy partners, amphibious by nature. We will get back to maritime in the domains, but what we need is those 31 amphibs that the Commandant needs to mount out a 3.0 MU presence. That is the goal. For those who don't understand that parlance, 3.0 MU means 1 MU afloat in all 3 major theaters at the same time. It takes us 31 amphibs with our Navy partners to do that. So we're going to start, the Commandant, as well as the Secretary of the Navy and the Department of Defense as a whole, is going to re-energize the shipbuilding industry in our nation. So what does that mean locally? Well, I'll tell you, if you're outside the gate and you're looking at those vocational skills, welders are short across our nation, and they are key and critical for shipbuilding. So that's a tie-in we have also. And then the Commandant has always remained mission first, people always. We're looking at the quality of life of the young Marines, and I love the way the Commandant speaks about quality of life. It isn't, don't you dare. It is not giving Marines what they want. It's getting them what they need to fight and win our nation's battles. I'll land it there, sir.
Very good. Colonel?
Thank you, Bob. Special thanks to the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce and for everybody coming out this afternoon. I know there's a lot of places you could be, and it speaks volumes to your interest and support for the community, and specifically to the bases and to our service members and families here. You take the time here and that we're invited here, so thank you all very much for that. A lot of the things that General Rizzo just touched upon are things that affect every installation, and as we look at our new focus on some of the things that are going on in the world and how we are adapting to that, the Marine Corps has adapted and evolved as well. So the Marine Corps' character is not the same as it was even 15 years ago. We have a lot more families now. We have a lot more mature and more diverse Marines. So some of the things that come along with that is, as we look to seeking out, closing and destroying, right, and finding our enemies, one of the things we have to do is make sure we can do that, and our Marines can go forward fully focused on that. We do that by taking care of families and having the launch pad from our installations to be able to do that. We're doing a lot of things to make our installations more resilient, to make them better effective, so that our 2MEF partners can locate, close with, and destroy, and they can move out from the installation knowing that our families are taken care of and have everything they need back here with the Remain Behind element and with all of us in the community. And I know Jacksonville and Onslow County do a great job at that and have taken care of us very well. On base, we're doing a better job at that. One of the things we found since COVID is there's been a drastic reduction in childcare facilities, both on base and off base. On base because we don't have the facilities, and off base because we don't have the community staffing to do that. So there's different reasons for it. On base, we found a way that we could improve our childcare. So New River a couple years ago, with some support from Marine Corps Installations East and then General Garcia, and now also with some Manpower and Reserve Affairs perpetual funding for that, we've been able to renovate a facility and open it up. And starting in July 1st, we are going to have another facility that will be able to host 82 children for on-base childcare, which significantly reduces the wait list for on-base childcare and also reduces some of the strain for some of the dwindling off-base childcare facilities. Huge impact to the quality of life of families and to be able to relieve some of the stressors that our Marines have so they can go to the flight line and turn wrenches so we can fly aircraft in support of 2MEF. Big win for New River, big win for 2MEF, and for what we're doing and how we can further advance the interest of the Marine Corps and the nation. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Colonel. All right, Captain.
Good afternoon. First, I just want to say thanks for inviting me. I guess I was the second runner-up, but I'll take it. So I'm Captain Anja Dabelić. I'm the director at the Medical Center. I'm a family physician by training, but I love it here as far as the MedCen goes. It's a family medicine residency training program, and so it's great to see those future Navy assets be grown there. But a few things that we want to ensure that we make awareness today is, what steadfast Navy presence we have here in Onslow County, right? We all know about the Marines and all the things that they do great, but wherever a Marine unit goes, there's also a Navy medical asset that goes with them. So Navy Medical Center, Camp Lejeune, we care for about 50,000 beneficiaries. I think Onslow has over 200,000, so an eighth of the population are cared for at our hospital. And we serve not only just the hospital setting, but laboratory, radiology, pharmacy, which is what everyone always speaks of, that come through us as well. And so our active duty military families are engaged here in this community, and the veterans are also engaged in your community. And the children are in your schools, right? We'll speak to that, I'm sure, too. And our spouses are, potentially employed here with the community. So it's not only crucial that our military is ready for the warfighting needs, it's crucial that our families are here, then part of our readiness as well. So one accomplishment I'd like to highlight is in this past year, we opened up the new Marine Corps Medical Home in New River, servicing Colonel Burnett's crew of about 7,000 Marines that get to have access to a state-of-the-art medical and dental clinic. And additionally, 2 days ago, we just opened up the French Creek modernization for French Creek's medical home as well. And soon, this year as well, we'll be opening up Geiger Clinic, which is a smart clinic. So we're renovating and building up our facilities, which were over-needed. Another achievement is our simulation center, right? Just like you don't want a Marine to go downrange and be shooting a weapon for the first time, we don't want our medical assets to be not aware of all the amazing training things that they can do. And so we have these high-fidelity mannequins that can basically talk to you, blink, breathe, do all the things, have this fake skin they can operate on, all of those. So we're driving our manpower through there to ensure that they get the highest training that they can have. And then our third point is Lejeune here in the MedCen is partnering with the VA, or the Veterans Affairs. So this year we anticipate we'll be able to give dental clinic access for the VA so they can care for their Veteran Affairs patients, but also help in caring for our warfighters. And we're working on a goal also to bring primary care from Veteran Affairs here too, on base, and so that will help us in the MedCen because those complicated cases that they see can then come into our hospital as well. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Captain. President Heatherly.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Great.
Good. I'm okay too. Thanks for asking.
Debatable.
If you don't know, I also serve as the chairman this year of the Chamber of Commerce, and I do want to say that I'm most impressed with the staff there at the Chamber, in particular Lorette's leadership, and so I do thank you and your staff for organizing this event. As always, it's exceptionally well done. And to Jones Onslow EMC, Crystal, and all of your folks, thank you so much for, yet again, sponsoring this event. Now, I know you said earlier that you hope to learn something today. Don't get your hopes up, especially with the two educators at the panel here. We are classic examples of the Peter Principle. Although I have told Dr. Barnes that he can blame Superintendent Collins for everything that goes wrong for at least the first year, Of course, I've been blaming Ron Lingle, for the last 9 since he left for anything that has gone wrong. So I know I'm being timed here, and I hate for, by the way, it took guts, in my opinion, to ring the bell on the commanding general over there.
Nobody said I was smart.
Yeah, well, there's a fine line between being brave and just being too stupid to know you're in danger. So, way to go, Bob. All right, this is an old story, and I'm glad it's an old story, but I have to commend our students, faculty, and staff for yet another job well done over this past year. Your college is well known for performing exceptionally on the report card each year. We have received our performance measures. It does indicate that yet again, Coastal Carolina students have performed at the top level across the state. So I commend our faculty, staff, and especially our students for a job well done there. One example of that, we have been participating as of late in what's called Skills USA competition. And we had a young lady that placed first in the state this year. Her name is Rebecca Hunter, and she will represent North Carolina on the national level in the early childhood education program, so kudos to them. Again, we are designated. We are at the gold level status when it comes to military and military spouse friendly. We are very proud of that, and of course we should be, because we are the home of 2 major military bases here and proud of it. I would be remiss if I did not thank Senator Mike Lazzara for the great work that he's been doing in Raleigh. As you may have read in the paper over the past year, maybe a little more, $20 million has been designated for our next building. We are in the process, and that is through Senator Lazzara's advocacy. And we are planning a building on our campus on Faculty Drive, which will house programs including our small business center as well as cosmetology. So look for that over the next year. Hopefully we'll break ground between now and this time next year. And then lastly, let me just mention I'm very proud of the fact that through the support of our Onslow County Commissioners, we've been able to do some great things both on our campus and off our campus. We are in the process of renovating the Learning Resources Center first floor. We just this past Monday had a groundbreaking ceremony. My predecessor was there along with his family, and I am pleased to tell you that our Board of Trustees has opted to name that facility after my predecessor, and it will be the Ronald K. Lingle Veterans Center. So great job to my Board of Trustees on a great decision for a man who I think has contributed substantially over 28 and a half years as president before I was thrust into the role. So, thank you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I've been the superintendent for 3 months, and I do appreciate President Heatherly's involvement with that. There's a vicious rumor in my office area that Dr. Collins was planning on staying the whole year until he got this invitation and realized he'd be on a panel again, Mr. Heatherly, and so he gave it to me. It was great. I've been here 3 months in this position, but really the school year started under Dr. Collins' leadership and his continued push to raise the bar, and that's about student expectations and outcomes that we expect for our kids, and having just quality instruction in every class, every day for our students. We're the 11th largest system of the 115, serve 27,000 kids. And as far as accomplishments go, school year ended last Friday. This is our last teacher work day today. And right now, Southwest High School is graduating. And all of our other high schools have been graduating. It started a month ago with our early college at Coastal Carolina. And we have 2 more after this tonight, Swansboro High and White Oak. And that has to be the biggest accomplishment for our 1,800 seniors, is to get that diploma. Talking about the early college, at Coastal, one of our, I guess I would say, of the stars that you can look at in the system, one of the top 1% in the nation with their ratings. It's a fantastic school under the leadership of Jay Strope. And for all of these graduations, I was required to tell you by our chief communications officer that they're all on YouTube. So if you want to take a look at any of the graduations, you can check them out. Some other things to tell you about. We have continued to push for innovative opportunities for our kids, whether it's the early college or Onslow Virtual School, the Regional Skills Center, many other ways that we try to reach our students and to help prepare them for whatever they want to go into in terms of a successful future, whether that's through enrollment, enlistment, or employment. Some other recognitions, the system was recognized as a model global ready school district by the state just a month ago. The Public School Forum continues to give Onslow County an exemplary rating, puts us in the top 20% of the state for educational outcomes. Your school system is accredited, and in that process, our accreditor Cognia gave the system an index of education quality rating that puts us in the top of the 3 tiers in that system, and that's comparing us against schools across the nation, school systems across the nation. For continuous improvement efforts, just to give you an example, for teacher effectiveness, over 94% of our end-of-grade reading teachers met or exceeded the state growth expectation. That's pretty good. Under the leadership of a gentleman named Mr. Will Lane, This past year, our students have completed over 11,000 CTE industry recognized credentials. That compares to the prior year of about 9,000, the year before about 6,000. So that's definitely a good trend. And our kids have completed over 1,500 AP exams that result in college credit. The last one I want to mention, our military connection. For the first time, all of our traditional high schools have earned or have applied for the Chapter 35 approval, meaning that the school is officially certified by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, and students who are eligible can accept benefits under that program. And with the leadership of Dr. Krennick and her student services team, the MFLACs and military liaisons, they should all be proud of the fact that 100% of our schools have earned and maintained what is called the Purple Star Award status for now the last 3 years. And this is in recognition of their connection to support for our military-connected students and families. And that, 15 seconds, the system therefore has the privilege of being known as a military-friendly designated school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Mr. Chairman.
Great job, Bob. Ring my bell.
Opportunity.
I love that. I agree with President Heatherly. After what General Rizzo shared down there and what they're doing around the world, took a little bit of guts to cut the general off. But that's what makes being here so wonderful, is what you get to hear from Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, New River Air Station, to hear what they do, because what they do allows us to do what we do. And that's what makes Onslow County such a wonderful place, is because of the military connections and such community coming together at events like this, and see how everybody has grown and worked together. So first thing that I'd like to share that the commissioners have done, it's in your chairs. Everybody gets a copy. It's yours to take home, frame, read it, make sure we're following it. So what I'll do is I'll just start on page 1 and read my welcome letter. And that way it slows everything down and I don't miss anything. But seriously, that is there for you to see what we've done. The importance of that is that this is truly the first time that we have developed a strategic plan where everything is aligned, to where we have taken the roadmap, or taken and created a roadmap for the next 5 years for Onslow County. Traditionally, we may have built budgets that were year to year, and now we are building budgets that build on each other to ensure that the vision comes to fruition, and that roadmap is being developed. Part of that is it keeps the focus for the commissioners on the goals that have been set. It gives that direction to our county manager, David Smitherman, who was not able to be here this morning, but it keeps him focused and aligned with the goals that we create and establish for him and his team. Part of that, those goals, is maintaining community vitality, focused and sustainable future. We want to make sure that our community is healthy and safe. We have a high-performing government to meet the expectations of our citizens, and then be fiscally responsible, which really goes into the building of that budget, not for now, but for the future, so we can maintain and continue that sustainable future. The involvement with that was great. Some of you may have pulled up to the gas stations and you saw the gas station TV, GSTV, and it was talking about the strategic plan. So all of you that participated in that was brought together and helped develop this plan. Some of the things that we have expanded or improved or renovated this year is the Emergency Operations Center. That's nearly finished, and it will make us completely disaster ready. Obviously, Onslow County is well aware of what hurricanes can do and other things, and that we're going to ensure that we have an Emergency Operations Center that is up to date and it is able to meet the needs of all the men and women that serve Onslow County in times of disaster. Our senior services, as you're coming in, or maybe you passed it, we are renovating the old senior services building, and hopefully that'll be ready in the next year. What has been great about that is we've had to move the current senior center down the road, right on 24 and 258 with the banners, and everybody sees it there. So we have become more visible, and the programming has become more known because it's become so visible, and the positive responses has been great. So it's just a whole new level of programming that we're able to provide for the seniors in Onslow County, and our senior population is increasing along with people at this table that are a part of that. Sammy Phillips and David Headley and Tim Foster, are all part of that. I got 15 seconds when you speak about those things, but we're also renovating the building we have on Center Street to house about 100 of our DSS employees, get them into space of their own to where their work is valued, and they're in a great situation to do that. And now that he's rung my bell, I will send it on to the next one. Thank you all very much, and thank you, Lorette.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor.
It's good to be back here again this year. The state of the city of Jacksonville is great. We're moving forward. We have so many projects in line, it would take me an hour to go over them with you. And since Mr. Bellringer over here, I could go ahead and let him wear his hand out or the bell one, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you about a few things. First off, let's talk baseball. Okay? We have the fortunate occasion to have a new baseball team in Jacksonville. It'll be their second year. They just started their season 2 on May 31st at Jack Amyette Park. Beautiful baseball park. If you haven't been yet, that place has been really changed to resemble a real baseball park, not the one I played on when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. But anyway, we had 2,180 people estimated it turned out for that ball game. That just goes to show you the need for these quality of life things. And a lot of those folks were military families that came to the ballpark. And we've made a lot of major improvements there. We've actually had some of the players actually asked to come back or come to our team so they could play on our field for their home games, which says a lot for our Parks Department and Recreation Department for what they've been able to do. As far as city support, we've put up a new stadium. We've got new stadium seating arrangements, improvements, a larger scoreboard, an upgraded sound system, and a dugout, and new dugouts, new concession stand, et cetera. In appreciation of community support, the Patino family, the owners, Eli and Arlen Patino, have provided an Osprey memento. So if you'll look under your seat, there's one at each table. There's a token of their appreciation.
Okay, this will not count against the mayor's time.
Do not stop the mayor's time. Keep it running.
That's how you get more time.
Your seat there, Chris. I would fight over it.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
You can have this one because I got a bunch more.
I missed the question? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Go ahead.
You want to hand me the bell?
No?
Okay. A couple of things I want to bring out, and I know we're pushed for time here, but I want to mention the Amazon Distribution Center that will be opening sometime before the holidays over on Williamsburg Park, off of Williamsburg Parkway on New Frontier Drive. They're still under construction. They're going to bring us a couple hundred jobs or more to our town, and they've already started hiring. Their hiring process. So if you want a job with Amazon, there you go. Our One City Center project, which you've got a little picture on your tables there. We're in our third year of developing this 400-acre site located behind Williamsburg Plantation. If you look at it closely, what it is, it's going to be a partnership effort with private concerns and public. But our first venture will be for that a multi-purpose center, which should be around our plan is 120,000 square foot, which would accommodate anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 people. So it'd be good for concerts, indoor sports, et cetera. Our downtown revitalization project still goes on. Our new Bridge Street project, landscape project, streetscape, shall we say, is finally finished. Hooray, thank God.
Yeah.
That was a 2-year project that took 3 years. But, a lot of it was due to weather and unforeseen things under the road, the old road bed. So we're making improvements there. Plus, we've this is our effort to get other small businesses to locate in the downtown area. And I think there's been a lot of interest shown, and that's good enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. Well, now turning towards the present, please share 2 or 3 major challenges your organization or jurisdiction is currently facing and the plans and procedures in place to address them. And I'm going to start this one reluctantly with David Heatherly.
Ring my bell, ring my bell. Who did that?
Patty LaBelle?
Okay, never mind. Okay. In my opinion, and you've heard me say this before, the 2 major challenges that the North Carolina Community College system faces has to do with budget stability as well as aging infrastructure. And so there is a desperate need for capital infusion, in my opinion. And you probably have heard me say also that colleges are funded in arrears. Our funding is based on what enrollment we realized in the past year. And so in many cases, that makes it very difficult, particularly for those colleges who might have seen a dramatic decrease in enrollment. We were the hardest hit college by Hurricane Florence, believe it or not. That's been 7 years ago. And we had a declining enrollment as a result of that storm to the tune of approximately 200 students. And then it wasn't long after that the pandemic came. And we lost another 200 to 250 students and have had decreasing enrollments each year since that time until this past year. We realized a 10% increase in enrollment this past year. We are seeing more students on our campus seeking face-to-face courses versus online now, which I think is encouraging. Online is not necessarily for everyone. But there have been challenges, and many colleges have had reductions in force over the years. And so I must commend Vice Presidents Herman Harpine and my controller, Michelle Stiles, for their management and leadership over that time, and that we did not resort to a reduction in force. So things are looking better in that sense, but it is an example, though, of what you're faced with the current budgeting process. Right now, the House and Senate are in Raleigh, and they're working on their 2-year, this is called the long session. So it's a biennial budget that they're working on. And I'm very confident that our representatives, that being Shepard, Smith, and Gable, along with Senator Lazara, are doing everything they can to support not just the system as a whole, but Coastal in particular, when it comes to a little more budget stability. When you do have decreasing enrollment, you still have to have your programs in place in the fall. You have to have your faculty and staff hired and ready to go. Many of our programs are 2 years. So the continuity is not quite there unless you are really managing your funds very well. And again, I commend my staff for that. This college is now, believe it or not, 60 years old, Bob. We are 60 years old. And we just had our 60th graduation. Over 700 students graduated this past month. And we've been located at 444 Western Boulevard, Bob, now for over 50 years. We moved there in 1972. And through the help of our county commissioners, I can't say enough about the support that they've given us over the years, but we have managed to maintain our facilities as best we could. But let's face it, with time, that does take its toll on a lot of our aging buildings, which were built in the 70s. So in a perfect world, we would have, we would have really 2 more buildings in addition to the one that I just mentioned. We have a desperate need for a health facility. We also could use a second trades building because, quite frankly, we are turning students away in nursing, dental hygiene, automotive technology, welding, you mentioned earlier. There are a number of programs that need attention and need more and better facilities. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Dr. Chris?
Sure. Well, so first I would say growth. Although we've had a recent slight decrease, overall we're looking at 300 additional students each year. And the solution to some of that growth is, of course, building new schools. Dr. Brendan Gartner and his operations team will have our 43rd site set up for the 25-26 school year at a place you may have known as Tabernacle, and that will be Woodland Elementary School. That will be our 34th site. And we're also fortunate to have a good working relationship with the Board of Commissioners in how do we address our 10-year capital needs and the funding formula. And some of those needs are not just for new school buildings, but also the support services structures like child nutrition services and the bus garage. A second challenge is meeting the non-academic needs of students, behavior and mental health challenges, food insecurity. We've recently partnered with Dr. Kathy Spencer, our former superintendent, who probably didn't want me to mention her name, and she's helping us right now with a number of curriculum instruction initiatives, to include helping us to set up an alternative to suspension elementary program that is somewhat similar to what is run with the city of Jacksonville. The third, I would say, building internal capacity. We have to do more to invest into those who are invested in our local public schools, our parents, our students, and our staff. Some of the ways we're doing that, expanding the Parent Academy. It's a structure that helps us to share with parents some of the things that are impacting their children. With students, trying to ensure that they have a solid academic foundation, again, looking at those innovative opportunities. An example that I had down for this one is, how do we respond to job market demands? Well, next year, our CTE group will be starting a new medical assistant program. And in that program, those completers can immediately work in urgent care systems, and we're told that there are thousands of openings across the state in that area. We also, of course, have to utilize our time with students to build our own profession. Teaching is the only profession that launches all the other jobs, and we don't always do a good enough job to advertise, what we do. So we have efforts like the Future Teachers of Onslow, and looking to see how we can support things like teaching fellowships. Finally, for our current employees, how do we expand opportunities to build them? Certain positions in our system, you have to have some kind of graduate coursework or certificate. So it only makes sense that we help to support our folks that are going for those types of credentials. So we have graduate cohorts in leadership and AIG counselors, digital learning, teaching facilitators. We also support the testing requirements for teachers at times, and training the certification for those who keep the system going in operations. We have multiple TA to teacher programs. One is with ECU and one UNCW. And most recently, we have started working on a pilot with Coastal Carolina Community College, where our high school diploma level employees can complete the Associate of Arts in Teaching Preparation. That's the AATP degree. So those are some of those. And then within the classroom itself, to build the capacity of those who are in front of our kids every day. One example that's been pretty hot recently is a little something called AI. AI did not write this, by the way. These are my own notes. Our Chief Technology Officer, Jeff Pittman, he and his team have explored how can we use AI effectively and safely in the classroom. And he has found in talking with our teachers that they feel that the solutions we currently have in place, called Magic School and Copilot, those have really made an immediate impact on their ability to time save and have efficient planning and how to reach diverse learners. So moving forward, we'll continue to look at that, 15 seconds, and how we can have our children work with those types of things in a controlled setting and safely. Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess you and David Heatherly went to the same school of timing.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
I just don't
Chairman
have a bell.
Foster, do you have something to add?
Well, I just thought I'd use AI for just a second.
Sure did.
So I said, hey, what are 3 challenges for Onslow County? And the first one was rapid development and straining infrastructure. Funny thing is, right here on my card, without AI, it says growth. And we'll hear that a lot. It's growth. But Onslow County is facing that issue because we are a great place to live, work, learn, and raise a family. So we're working to continue funding the schools and working with them to encourage smart growth, looking to work with them in land acquisition, because that seems to is becoming an issue that it wasn't previously, but it's becoming an issue. But the school system and the county have been working well together for several years now with our funding formula, so the schools do not have to worry about what that money will be. They know it's this percentage and here's the number, and they'll be able to build their budget to move forward to continue to provide education at the levels that Onslow County and our citizens expect. Part of that growth is just what David Heatherly mentioned, is our community college, another great resource and part of the economic driving force in Onslow County. As we started working more closely with them, I believe would be the right term. And we're going to work over the next few months in developing a funding formula to support a coastal as well. So that is something that is taken care of and not a year-to-year decision, but something that is in place to continue meeting the needs of education in Onslow County from K-12 right into the post-secondary schools. One of the things that a lot of people in this room will be happy to hear, especially our developers, is streamlining the permitting process and planning and development to get those permits out to you quicker and make that more efficient for you to meet the demands that we're facing in Onslow County. And Onslow County is funding for the first time the Onslow Innovative Lab, which is created to find efficiency in how government works so we can be better, provide better services to the people of Onslow County. One of the things that we're getting ready to face again coming in January 1st of 2026 is the increase in property values. That is going to increase anywhere from 20 to 25%. County doesn't set that. Those values take the market price and recent sales figures, and there comes the growth. Property tax cost is not proportional to the increase in property values. So by the time we hit that, we're definitely going to have to look at lowering your tax rate, because the increase at 20 to 25% is not something that we want to leave alone, because we are still accountable to the people of Onslow County. And finally, the last thing is mental health. We are continuing using the opioid funds to fight substance abuse and help those that are battling those addictions. And one thing that I think our Sheriff, Chris Thomas, is most proud of is the medical assisted treatment in the Onslow County Jail, where it is reducing repeat drug abuse and overdoses, which keeps repeat offenders from coming back to the jail. That program has been very instrumental, along with our community paramedic program that is working to make sure that we are training people in the use of Narcan, training people in hands-on CPR, and meeting those needs. And that's something that's going to continue across Onslow County, and growth has an impact in all of those areas, because people have discovered Onslow County, something we've always known. Everyone else has discovered it as well, and they're coming to Onslow County. No bell. Thank you.
He fell asleep.
He was snoozing.
Mayor, it's all you.
All right, thank you. One of the biggest challenges that we're faced with in the city of Jacksonville right now is the shortage of housing, and specifically affordable housing for moderate and low-income options. The city commissioned the UNC School of Government to do a study this past year of our housing market for both affordable housing and market rate housing. And we've got several partners that we have on board now that are working with us to try to satisfy some of this shortage, by procuring properties and building new units. I know some of you have seen a lot of other housing being developed in Jacksonville. If you go up on the northwest side of Jacksonville there around the River Life Church, that's all being prepped for, I think it's like 700 housing units that are supposed to go there. So there is an increase, there will be an increase in what we have. The United Way is also evaluating properties for transitional housing. This would provide temporary shelter for people that are homeless or lack other means of housing to help them transition from homelessness to a permanent housing situation. As a military host city, it is our responsibility to protect the military base mission. And we achieve this through using our planning and zoning practices inside the city and the ETJ. We have partnered with the county and the base to complete a resiliency study that will help the military complete their mission, not only day to day, but during times of emergency. And just recently, we did have a joint exercise with Marine Corps Base and MCI East, where we were working a lot closer together than we have in the past as far as being able to provide mutual assistance, mutual information with each other in the face of any type of crisis like we've had in the past, like Florence. any of these types of things. And the other thing is too, is to ensure that they can make adequate movement of their personnel and resources in the case they're called out to serve, to be deployed or even a domestic situation. But our long-term goals are to ensure affordable and safe housing and to protect our base's mission. You don't even have to ring the bell.
Man, thank you, Mr. Mayor. General, it's all you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I really appreciate that. You segued well into mine, so the rehearsal we had before this is paying off, I think. The mayor hit the nail on the head. We have several challenges aboard the installation, but in the end, we know we have the partnership of our community members. As a matter of fact, just as I walked in the room today, I grabbed Sheriff Thompson, and we had a discussion that's going to make sure that everybody over the weekend, should some things occur, are safe and secure on both off our installation. So that's just indicative of the relationship we share, to the mayor's point, especially when it comes to safety and security. Part of our challenges I see aboard the installation, folks, and on behalf of the Marine Corps and the Commandant, Marines used to only know 2 periods of time. We were either at war or we were preparing for war. You couldn't be in both, usually. I believe in the last couple of years that has changed, and we have 1 foot in each period right now in your Marine Corps, and certainly on base. So one of our challenges that I talked about last year, and you'll hear me say over and over again, is hardening, resiliency, and redundancy. Because to the mayor's point, aside from a natural disaster where we can focus inward on purely recovery, and we have all hands on deck to do that, when we're under attack, folks, the meth needs to get out of town, and that is my sole responsibility and my sole purpose in life, is to ensure that our power projection platforms can get this meth out of town at the time and place of our nation's choosing, and then sustain operations aboard the base. So in order to do that, we talk about hardening. Hardening is an infrastructure thing, but also where we see our partnership come into play with Jones-Onslow, with all the local providers of critical capability, as the mayor was alluding to, when it comes to resiliency and redundancy. Our power, our water, our wastewater management, the ability to shoot, move, and communicate aboard the installation, we're intrinsically tied with those providers out in town. So the things done out in town to ensure resiliency and redundancy of those capabilities help us all at a time of need. Right now, as we've sat here today, folks, we are at war in the cyber domain, the information domain, and think of things like drones. While we sat here at lunch today, at least 3 of my 6 installations underwent a cyber attack. I'm pretty confident about that without even being told. We face them daily, but those installations have defended them. And they've done so successfully, but you can't always say that's going to be the case. So when we talk about cyber, when we talk about information warfare, folks, I'm not anti-social media platforms, but please know that everything out there isn't the truth. Yeah, my wife had to tell me that once. And she was brilliant when she said it. Well, more than once. Okay, that's fair. That's fair, Dr. Heather, that's fair. But it was over a debate about misinformation and disinformation. I have teams at Comstrat that just sit and monitor this stuff all day. We don't combat it aggressively, but we make sure we get the facts out there to counter dis and misinformation. But those are the type of attacks your installations are undergoing today, as we sat here and had a great lunch from Smithfield's. And they're doing it well. But those are one of the challenges we face. I brought some of those up with the Secretary of Military and Veterans Affairs for North Carolina, Secretary Millett, while she was here. We talked about affordable housing for our family members out aboard, off the installation. We talked about county school funding. Why does that matter to me? 70% of mine and Slimer's population live in our communities, folks, not on our base. And we're funded at the lower third levels for the state by state funding for our county schools. We talked about teachers' salaries. We're funded in the lower 10% of the nation for paying teachers out in our counties, and we need to help affect that for you all, because it is our population that you service in those areas. I know you let me run long, sir, so I'm going to end it there. Now I feel better, thank you. I can always take Slimer's time if I need it.
Take what you need, sir.
Colonel Burnett.
Thanks, Bob. The common thread in this panel when we talk about some of our challenges is growth. The Marine Corps' got growth challenges in multiple different aspects. One of them, like the General just talked about, is how do we grow our force itself and our Marines and our equipment as needed to combat 21st century adversaries and to be able to fight and win our nation's wars. So doing that is difficult for some of our installations, which can't keep pace with the change in our formation. So it is relatively easy to change a formation, to change how a unit fights, what a unit looks like. It is not as easy to change the growth of the installations, which are the launch pads for the MEF in our case, to be able to do that. So some of our challenges include how do we adjust to force design and some of the changes in force design, which is the Marine Corps' modernization effort to make sure that our installations and our units on those installations have fit-for-purpose facilities in order to fix and fly aircraft, in my case, and train some of the people who are going to fix and fly aircraft to be able to support 2MEF and be able to get out of town to do our nation's bidding. New River has over 50% of the aircraft and over 60% of the squadrons for the entire 2MEF organization. So all of the Marine aviation units on the East Coast, over 50% of the aircraft reside on New River. So in 5.5 square miles, we have between 175 and 215 helicopters and tilt-rotor aircraft and a couple C-12s at any given time, depending on where the units are and what they're doing, spread out over 14 flying squadrons, 3 ground support squadrons, and then 2 training squadrons for entry-level training and some other things that we do. That's a lot on a small area, and considering that the air station was founded in 1944, we don't have any buildings from 1944 anymore, so we're a little better than that, but we have some challenges modernizing, and as we change our formations, how do we keep pace with that and make sure we have facilities to support that? That has been an ongoing challenge, and we're doing very well at it. Money is coming for it, but the pace at which that money comes means that there's going to be sacrifices short term to make sure that as we make those accommodations, we're doing so at the convenience of the units who still have to train and fight and go forward. One of the ways that we're doing that is not just looking at a specific hangar or how many spaces and square footage somebody needs on the flight line, but overall, how do we take advantage of the space that we have in New River and how do we integrate that into the greater Marine Corps Installations East and East Coast Training Area, the Maritime Center of Excellence that we have here. We have, if people aren't too familiar, the only place on the eastern United States where we can employ naval gunnery. When we look at the Navy Marine Corps team and what our forces do on the amphibious ships in which we deploy and some of the partnerships that make up the carrier strike groups, expeditionary groups as well, a lot of the training we do can be done right here in eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way down to northern Florida and southern Virginia as well. And if you look at that, we have a great opportunity here and we have great partners to support that. And we're incorporating everything we can do training-wise, as well as maintenance for aircraft and our aviation units into that to make sure that as we do get these facilities and we get the new buildings and we have the squadrons there, what we have fits with what the Marine Corps needs for 21st century tasking. So, thank you, Bob.
Captain Dabelić.
Thank you. I think we're running the same themes. One, of course, is always, the ability of what manpower you have, right? So since the post-pandemic, health care has adjusted financially as well as administratively, and so we're continuing to, work through that. Like many facilities, we're challenged with staffing turnover. Sadly, Camp Lejeune hasn't been the most attractive for my civilian staff to come to, so we're doing our best to recruit the best talent here and offering the incentives to get them here in spite of the, limitations that are going on with that currently. So we're currently, staffed very moderately well. Of course, we always want more. And our military medical personnel, we do get pulled for different deployments or assignments and get taken out of the hospital, right? But the mission of the hospital is 24/7, right? Others can close their doors. We're there 24/7 taking care of patients. If I deploy 200 of my people, medical care is still happening 24/7. So we're trying to figure out how we can do that, but we also want to say thank you for our patients, realizing that, even though that pharmacy line might be a little long today, they're doing the best they can, right? And so to give them grace, and we appreciate you giving that to us. Secondarily, it's those ability of our buildings, right? The infrastructure, we've talked about that. You heard me earlier talk that we opened a few more facilities, so we're working forward, but that takes time, right? To plan and project that what building you want. The building I was talking about earlier, it was initially came to fruition in about 2010, and here we are 2025 before we got it doors open to receive care. So we have to always be forward thinking and forward leaning and finding those opportunities. And so we're working with that government construction projects and trying to get there, and the team is doing the best we can with what we have, and we're thankful each and every day.
Thank you, Captain. All right. Let's see. Finally, let's look ahead to the future. We are building together for this community. Please describe one or two collaborative, cooperative, or community-centered efforts that you believe will strengthen, inspire, or improve our shared future. And I will start this with Chairman Foster.
Thank you. First, just a thank you to the Chamber and Lorette for putting this on, along with Jones Onslow sponsoring this. One of the important things is the partnership with our area municipalities. Working with them, matter of fact, this afternoon at 2:30, we meet quarterly with the county, the mayors, to discuss what's going on, the needs, and find ways that we can work together. We meet quarterly too with the city, and one of those items come out of that is just looking at some joint recreation initiatives with Onslow County and the city of Jacksonville, partnering with that. We're also announced the our local government summer enrichment program. That too is with Jacksonville to get our students involved with local government and the importance of being involved with that. And then we are working with Richlands and Holly Ridge and Swansboro to provide planning and IT services. So as much as we are seen as the county and individual municipalities, we are working together with partnerships to streamline processes to provide the most efficient means of getting the job done for everyone at the table. We want to continue working with community partners, Onslow County Schools, Coastal Carolina Community College, and some of you that have been around here a long time, you may remember the old 4C, Your Future, at Coastal Carolina Community College. That was a long time ago, but it sticks with you. But we want to continue working to build those relationships and the funding formulas to provide the growth of the schools and the support facilities that they need. And again, continuing to work with our community college and its capital plan that David Heatherly mentioned earlier, is that something that is going to be important for the success, the continued success of Coastal. We are working and have developed, along with ONWASA, Onslow County, the city of Jacksonville, a strategic plan for JOED, and that incorporated Holly Ridge as well, where we've seen a lot of growth in their industrial park. So a lot of strategic planning going on that really sets the stage for success for all entities in Onslow County, all of the partnerships. And then one of the biggest items is the work in providing quality fire service through our volunteer fire departments. They are one of the most important entities in Onslow County. The volunteers and the professionalism and the professionals that they are to come out and provide fire service to all of us in the county. Onslow County taxpayers are funding the fire departments, the fire engines and their operations, and the volunteers are the ones providing the meat, the service, the ones that show up on scene and take care of us. And we will continue to work with the volunteer fire departments, providing more funding so they can continue to get better and better each day and continue to train and become just the cornerstone of fire service in Onslow County through the Onslow County Volunteer Fire Departments and what they do. With that being said, ring that bell.
Mayor Phillips.
Okay, quality of life is something we strive to ensure that our residents have here in Jacksonville. And we do this a lot of times through collaborative efforts with some of our community partners. I was just talking to Charlie from the YMCA before we began today, and he told me that I guess you said that the equipment's on the ground, right? Ready to go. Hallelujah. Anyway, it's a great partnership that we formed there between Onslow County, the city of Jacksonville, the Board of Education, the state of North Carolina, and some federal government help. Each of us, the city, county, and the Board of Education contributed $3 million to this project. And Michael Lazar, our senator, got $5.5 million from the state to go towards this, and we had a $2.5 million from HUD to actually go towards the construction of this aquatic center there at the YMCA on Gun Branch Road. It's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of people. I know there's an agreement in place that enumerated several conditions and all that we were going to meet. One of them is that all our second graders in the county will receive swim lessons, and which I think is a great thing, since one of the greatest causes of death in children that age is drowning. So I think that would be a great asset for our community. We gave $1 million to one place to help them construct their 35,220 square foot community hub. One place provides a great service in our community towards children, to help children and families, young families. They do a great job over there. The Carolina Museum of the Marines over in Lejeune Gardens is another star in that group over there. We held the groundbreaking, and there's, again, Senator Lazar strikes again, gave us $26 million to go towards the completion of that project there. And it'd be nice to see that finished off. We have a lot of Carolina Marines here that have worked really hard towards the completion of that project. Uptown Jacksonville, again, going back to the picture that you have on your table there, this is a slow process because, it's involving a lot of funding, a lot of partners, and a lot of planning. The end product we hope to see is some outdoor playing fields, approximately 8 of them, and 1 championship field, an open-air amphitheater, mixed-use retail and residential spaces, which will help as far as paying the bill for a lot of this stuff that we plan to do. And trails, parks, and open green spaces are another thing that, these are things that the community has told us that they want, and that's what we intend to provide. So with that, you don't need to ring the bell either.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. General Rizzo, you, sir?
Thank you, Bob. I want to start first by thanking my fellow panel members, not just for today, but for the partnership, the collaboration, and the friendship we've shared during my time here. So thank you. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Bob. Bob, you had the toughest job up here today, I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at this panel and trying to get us to follow an order or regulation would be like herding cats, so well done. Folks, 2 things we see as areas we can collaborate with, and I'll dovetail a little bit off of what Slimer said, the Maritime Center of Excellence. It's a concept we're proffering up through the Marine Corps and the Department of Defense. Slimer gave you some of the distances. If you take the entire East Coast that is Mickey East, it's 441 miles, all coastline. When you shrink it down to eastern North Carolina, that becomes about 71 miles of training. From Slimer in my south, all the way up to Cletus at Cherry Point in the bombing ranges, you've got 71 miles we can train and use almost every weapon system in the Marine Arsenal today. We can fire from ship to shore. We can fire from ground to air, and we can do that in reverse. That's MAGTF combined arms right there. And we can do it all within eastern North Carolina. But we need some help with that again, folks. Aviation and airspace. We need restricted and unrestricted use, and we're working with the FAA to get that. Again, these weapon systems, they're getting smaller, but they're getting longer range, and they're becoming more lethal, and we need to be able to train on those things. So our ranges, our airspace, and then where we partner greatly out in town is encroachment issues, up and into the fence line, and our standoff needed. Drones are becoming a real thing, folks. We all know that, both in the commercial world for recreation and for business, but they pose a threat to us aboard the installation. We need to start working with folks like Google Maps and things that they program to use for these drones to get geofencing rules in place above federal installations, certainly over Slimer's aircraft out there on the flight line that he talked about. So these are areas we collaborate with greatly with our partners up here. And then the second area, Mayor Phillips hit it, and almost all of our panel members had mentioned something about it, quality of life. Quality of life, folks. I had mentioned it. The Commandant says it better than anybody I ever heard say it. It's not giving Marines what they want. It's getting them what they need to do this nation's bidding at a moment's notice. But quality of life to our families matters. Our Marines, sailors, and families that live off the installation depend upon you all for that quality of life. We say in the Marine Corps, we recruit the Marine, but we retain the Marine's family. I'm living proof of that 35 years later. If she was not taken care of with our babies when the first chance I had to re-enlist came up, we would have walked away. Eastern North Carolina does it better than almost any place we've been. I was just at Swansboro last weekend for the Military Appreciation Day. They opened the gates, the doors up, and over 2,000 Marine sailors and their families were interacting with our community members. And Mila and I just had the time of our life there to watch those young families interacting like that. So to the mayor's point about quality of life, how do we help that on our side of the relationship? Because we owe that, both inside and outside the fence line. We talk about programs like DCIP, Defense Community Infrastructure Program. $100 million this year, Joe, I see you somewhere, is in the pot for DCIP. Go see Joe and get some of that money, okay? And let's get it outside our fence line. That's the extension of the runway at Onslow out at Jacksonville Airport. That's the community centers and the parks and recreation things we can collaborate on to seed corn money into those programs because they directly relate to our military members and families. We have mutual aid agreements. I talked with the chief earlier, but with all the fire departments locally. We support each other, right? Those are first responders that would never say, sorry, not on base, not gonna go, or vice versa. Sorry, that's on base, that's their problem. They show up and they run to the sound of the guns. So those are some of the things we do under the mutual aid agreements. And then finally, as the mayor and the chairman alluded to, we're in destructive weather season, folks, officially. And this one they're saying is going to be bad. I'm concerned about that, but I don't lose a lot of sleep about it because our teams are tied in. The emergency operations centers talk to each other. We just exercised last week, and even though I wasn't here, I got daily reports on the collaboration that was being conducted by my emergency operations center and all those people out in town, Ron Massey and his team outside the gate, and all of our emergency centers. So the defense support to civil authorities. I had said it before, and I'll end with, I exist so my MEF can deploy combat power at the time and place of our nation's choosing. But we're also here and we live in this community. And when there is additional and excess capability, we will provide that outside the gates to recover as well. Thanks, Bob.
My pleasure, General. All right, Colonel Burnett.
To touch on quality of life one more time, I think it's a testament to the communities and the great relationships that we have that as we look to how we best care for our service members and their families, one of the things that the Marine Corps is, I think, laser focused on now and doing better than we have ever before is transitioning our service members back to society and doing so and providing society better people than came in the Marine Corps because of their experiences and what their family has and what they can offer the community. Eastern North Carolina is now a place of choice for a lot of our service members, whether they be retiring, getting out after initial 4-year enlistment, or 10 or 12 years. The amount of Marines and Marine families we see choosing to stay in specifically Jacksonville-Onslow County is far exceeded anything that I've ever seen or heard of in my time in the Marine Corps. So that's a testament to the people in this room, what we're doing and how we are accommodating that and focus on quality of life. So it's a great team we have here and a great opportunity, and I'm glad to see that we have Marines who are choosing to stay here. As we look at things we can do better in the future, the way Marines do that is we look back. We look on lessons learned from what other units have done to not make the same mistakes twice. We look at battlefield studies on how units may have done that in different locations before. And in our case, as installation commanders, what we look at is how can we do things better than previous people have done, and some of the things that we look at as General Rizzo's Fight the Base initiative, and some of the things we're doing to expand our cooperation with local efforts as well as what we have on base. New River recently completed an exercise at our newly renovated Child Development Center. We had a unique opportunity once in a lifetime, fully staffed CDC with no children in it, where we could experiment with some of our CDC and youth center hardening initiatives to do an active shooter drill. So we use role players from throughout the MEF and the the units on New River as staff, as parents, as children, so we could go through not just an active shooter response, but also triage, medical care, reunification that stretched from the hospital over on Camp Lejeune to one of our facilities, our fitness facilities on New River, to have a reunification center complete with trauma triage and then chaplain services, psychological services that we needed for grief counselors for those role-playing families, to make sure our staffs are as well equipped as we could be, looking at things like the Navy Yard shooting that happened several years ago and some of the challenges in how we partner with on-base and off-base services. We also incorporated the Jacksonville management with Josh Ray and Ron Massey were there during the exercise. We had Deputy Chief Dorn was there as well. We had Onslow County Sheriff's representatives. We had Onslow County EMS there, as well as Dodea, our superintendent, was there to help and provided her some of her counseling staff to help with that. And then we had Marine Corps Community Services, who works all of our child care centers, our fitness centers, and some of our response capabilities to be able to take part in that. We learned a whole lot of things about how we plan for this, and something as simple as how do we get a sheriff's car or an ambulance onto base when we lock down the gates? Where's the lane that we bring them into? How do they know what we use for frequencies for radios? So a lot of the things we did with that are going to be practiced again next year in a full-scale exercise where we have full integration of of both on-base and off-base law enforcement, fire emergency services, and then some of our services for aftermath of something like that in our next exercise. Thanks, Bob.
Great job. Captain.
I appreciate it. First, I want to take the time just to thank the community partners, obviously, worked very hard with us, bridging the gap between on installation and off installation. And to point out that the medical center, while we're behind the gates of Camp Lejeune, we're embedded out there with all of you as well. Some of those are, we can't thank Onslow Memorial leadership and Ms. Deal enough, right, for her continuous support and partnership over the years and the clinical training opportunities and the emergency mass casualty drills. Onslow Memorial has been right by our side, and so we appreciate that in this community. And the city of Jacksonville and Onslow County Government coordinate with the emergency department and the trauma center to ensure seamless EMS services, as well as transportation of those patients that come onto the base but yet can't get right back off. And so we're thankful for that as well. And specifically, I want to highlight Onslow County Health Department. Their agency works with our public health directorate day in and day out to keep the community on base and off base healthy. Of course, there's the Onslow County school system, and we're grateful for our team and your team working together to continue to explore the STEM program and hopefully brightening the bulb for young students to want to explore science and maybe even into Navy medicine as a career. And lastly, Coastal Carolina Community College has been a major player for us in medical and dental education efforts for our students, and we've been collaborating avenues of a pipeline that when they graduate from school, maybe they can just come right on and be hired with us. So for all those, we're thankful, and if I haven't yet had the chance to meet you during my time here, please take the time at the end of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. President Heatherly, what insights do you have for us?
I see a bit of reluctance in your voice there. You've heard some great examples of some of the really good things that are going on as far as cooperation between the various organizations within this service area. Everyone at the table here, from my experience, certainly believes in collaboration and cooperation. Let me just give you a few more examples before I close. There was a press release just recently announcing Onslow Memorial Hospital's program that is about to be implemented at Coastal Carolina Community College for all associate degree nursing students who are willing to and will sign that they will work at least 3 years at Onslow Memorial Hospital. If they will do that, they will be, their tuition, books, supplies will be paid, plus $500 a month for the duration of their experience at the college. That is very strong. There's certainly a nursing shortage in this community, but it is just a sign and an indication of how proactive the leadership is at that institution. So I thank you, Dr. Penny Burlingame Deal, who is not with us today, but certainly thank you and all of your team for implementing that program and supporting the college in that way. Given the success of our Onslow County Early College, and you've heard a lot about that, Dr. Barnes mentioned that just a few minutes ago, Dr. Barnes and I have been in discussion about whether or not it makes sense to expand on that program, either a separate high school or expand on the high school we have to include career and technical education. The program we have now focuses on college transfer. But my dad told me a long time ago, if we all have advanced degrees, someone's still got to fix your car. Someone still needs to fix, your air conditioning at your house. And so we're seeing a real demand now, much more so than before the pandemic, on the trades. And that's why I said earlier, we really need an additional trades building on our campus in order to meet that need. So a lot of good things are happening there. I can't say enough about Jay Strope, Dr. Barnes, and his leadership. So maybe it makes sense to talk about expanding on that effort. We do continue with discussions with Marine Corps Community Services on the continuous improvement and expansion possibly of our Skills Bridge program. If you're not familiar with that, that provides employment opportunities for our exiting Marines and sailors who may not intend to make a full career of active duty service, but once they have served their country, they will be guaranteed of employment given the programs that we offer through that. I'm also encouraged with the discussions Chairman Foster mentioned just a minute ago on the things that are going on between the commissioners and the college when it comes to being more proactive in our budgeting process. There have been recent discussions with the county manager as well as selected commissioners. Thank you, Chairman Foster, for that. We do think we will have a more proactive approach as a result of those discussions, particularly addressing the capital improvement needs that have been previously mentioned. And so, from my perspective, I think everyone at this table holds the betterment of our community as a major priority. Whether it's working with the city of Jacksonville and getting a training facility for our fire community at Georgetown, or whether it's maintaining and improving our clinical sites at the Naval Medical Center or Onslow Memorial Hospital, I think these are all examples, and I am encouraged every day by what I see on the support of collaboration and cooperation that exists among the leadership. And none of that could be done without you folks and all of our partners with our various organizations that work together to make all this happen. So thank you at the table.
Thank you.
Except for maybe Bob and all of you for the great things, all the great things that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Heatherly. Dr. Barnes, bring us home, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, before I do this about our future together, two things. One, thank you again to the Chamber and for everyone here who's interested in these topics and my fellow panelists. The second, I think the General said something about from Slimer to Cletus or something to that effect. So I think in the school system we need better nicknames. Going to work on that for next year. In terms of the partnerships we have, our future together, the answer is already in the room. When we think about our military connection, whether it's Onslow County Schools or Onslow County as a whole, Coastal Carolina Community College, none of us would be this way without our military partners, and it's important for our school system to take care of the children who have parents that are taking care of us in terms of our freedoms and safety. For our local governments and other agencies, we've talked a little bit about the funding and building new schools and those that type of cooperation. And really, it starts with the quality relationships that have existed for a long time. Our Chief Finance Officer, Jeff Holloman, and his many counterparts over his long history working with the school system and prior leaders have just done so much to build a relationship between the different entities to create financial stability and planning. I think it was last week the county manager mentioned in a meeting that of the 100 counties, Onslow County is the 10th most affordable to live in the state. That's a pretty good thing, and it's great that we live in a place that can work together so cooperatively. So we, of course, want to continue to do that. That cooperation extends beyond just financial matters. In the area of quality of life, as has been mentioned, we've had strong cooperation with things like the Aquatic Center. Another item recently that we've talked about, our partnership with the Onslow County Health Department. The start of this past school year, the health department folks trained all of our middle and high school PE teachers in a program called Catch My Breath. That's an evidence-based youth vaping prevention program, which is unfortunately an issue not just in our schools, but for children across the nation. And so that's a great partnership as we come together to try to combat that. And our relationship with Coastal Carolina Community College, not just in the early college, but even our adult high school program, our traditional high schools, I was sent these numbers a little bit ago. For last year, we had 473 students earn 1,528 credits at Coastal last year. Those aren't just early college students. Those cross all of our traditional high schools. So the answer really is in the room, and I would just remind you that it begins with having a strong local public school system, and that's what you have with Onslow County Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barnes. Well, that concludes it. Now you know why I called it a brain trust. Even David Heatherly added to this. So that was awfully nice. Want to extend a heartfelt thanks to everybody for taking the time to do it and sharing your insights on our community. And with that, Lorette?
So first, thank you to Ashley Escarano and to Josephine Brokemeyer. They're the two chamber staffers that put this together, did a great job. Of course, our neighbors at Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue for supplying the lunch, and then the City of Jacksonville Media Services that recorded this event. And I want to say, when you hear people gripe and complain or handing out misinformation, tell them to go to the YouTube and look up this program. That'll answer a lot of their questions. So thank you for joining us. They do need to flip this room, so if you want to visit, that's fantastic, but do it in the lobby. We are adjourned.